are you prepared for the ultimate test of your sanity
And your footwear.
quite frankly, yes, your footwear? Welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So, our mission today is all about surviving and hopefully thriving during the puppy stage.
It is a notoriously tough stage.
It really is. We are pulling together some fantastic research, behavioral studies, and a few downright hilarious survival guides to look at the reality of bringing home a tiny, adorable tornado.
A tornado is the perfect word for it.
You know the exact kind of tornado we're talking about. The one that will absolutely steal your heart, completely ruin your favorite sock,
Definitively ruin them.
and occasionally push your patience right to the absolute limit.
It is a very unique, very specific kind of chaos. Going through the notes for today, it becomes incredibly clear that while you might think you're simply bringing home a fun new pet,
Right.
what you are actually doing is enrolling in a high-stakes behavioral boot camp.
Yes.
And the biggest plot twist of all, the puppy isn't the primary one in training.
It's you.
Exactly. The human is.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that human boot camp starts the exact second you walk through your front door with this little fluff ball.
Day 1. Minute 1.
Let's talk about the first 72 hours. This is that initial, incredibly overwhelming window of time where you bring this tiny creature into your house.
And, most people expect instant cuddles.
Right, a perfect Instagram moment.
But the reality is usually a lot messier. And this is where a psychological reality check is so necessary.
What do you mean?
Well, if we look at the canine development data of what is actually happening in those first few days, puppies are essentially just infants.
Babies.
Literally babies.
Yeah.
They have just been taken away from their mother and their litter mates. That is literally the only family and environment they have ever known.
And then boom.
Right. Suddenly, they are dropped into your living room dealing with a massive sensory overload. There are entirely new smells, completely bizarre new sounds.
Like the dishwasher.
Or the television. A totally different environment and a whole new set of rules that they do not understand yet.
Yeah.
They aren't just cute, they are incredibly confused, and frankly, they're often terrified.
Which perfectly explains why you will inevitably find yourself awake in the dark, cleaning up tiny puddles off the hardwood floor at 2 in the morning.
Yep.
Just whispering to yourself, I chose this life.
It is a massive adjustment for everyone.
So if we want to actually help this tiny dog decompress, what is the immediate to-do list for a new puppy parent to handle this sensory overload?
The absolute most important thing you can do is keep things incredibly calm.
No puppy parties.
No puppy parties. I know it is so tempting to want to show off your new furry friend immediately. You want to invite 10 friends over right away, take a million pictures, pass the dog around.
But that's a bad idea.
You cannot do that. You have to give the dog time and space to explore on their own terms, to settle down, and to just get used to you and the layout of their new environment first.
Right, they need a minute to just breathe and realize they aren't on an alien planet.
Exactly.
And there is a real pro tip in the behavioral guides about setting up the ideal safe spot to help them do that.
Ah, yes.
You want to create a dedicated area with a comfy bed, fresh water, and crucially, if you can swing it, a soft toy or blanket that smells like their litter mates.
That scent is literally an anchor for them.
Because dogs are all about smell.
Right. A dog's primary way of understanding the world isn't visual, it is olfactory. Having that familiar scent from their siblings provides a huge amount of neurological comfort when everything else around them is completely foreign.
Wow.
It actually lowers their cortisol levels and helps bridge the gap between their old life and their new one.
Speaking of things that raise our cortisol levels, we have to talk about the Great Puddle Patrol.
Oh no, here we go.
Because nothing snaps you into the harsh reality of puppy parenthood faster than potty training. It is the great equalizer of dog owners everywhere.
It really is. And the core strategy here, the absolute golden rule of potty training that every single behavioral expert agrees on, is that it is an exercise in extreme timing.
Extreme timing is the perfect way to phrase it. You have to take them outside after literally everything.
Everything.
After they eat.
Take him out.
After they play with a toy for 10 minutes.
Take him out.
After they wake up from a 20-minute nap.
You take him out.
At first, you are looking at taking this tiny dog outside roughly every single hour.
Yes, every hour. And it sounds exhausting because it is exhausting.
Definitely.
But the goal here is to create as many opportunities for success as possible so you can build a specific habit loop.
And when they finally do have that success outside, the consensus is that you have to throw an absolute party.
Yes.
You have to praise them like they just won the lottery. Just Pure, unadulterated excitement. Positive reinforcement is the secret sauce here.
What's fascinating here is the underlying biology of that reinforcement. When we say positive reinforcement, we aren't just talking about being nice to your dog.
Right.
We are talking about dopamine. When that puppy pees on the grass and you throw a party, handing out treats and praise, you are literally creating a dopamine loop in their brain.
That makes them want to do it again.
That makes them actively want to repeat that exact behavior.
But let me push back on something here, because this is where the theory meets the really frustrating reality.
Okay.
The behavioral experts say that if an accident happens inside, and let's be real, it will, there should be zero punishment. You just clean it up and move on.
That's right.
Wait, really? Zero. Not even a firm no or a loud clap to interrupt them, because it goes entirely against human instinct to just silently clean up a mess on your brand new rug while the dog watches.
I completely understand the frustration, but yes, zero punishment.
Wow.
If you yell or clap loudly or rub their nose in it, which is an incredibly outdated and harmful myth, by the way.
Please don't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are not teaching them the concept of do not go to the bathroom inside. Puppies do not understand English. You are simply teaching them, when I go to the bathroom, my human becomes terrifying and unpredictable.
Oh, I see.
So what happens? They start hiding behind the sofa to pee, where you can't see them. You break the trust.
That makes sense.
Consistency beats perfection every single time. Every single accident inside is just a failure of human timing, not a failure of the dog. You just clean it up with an enzyme cleaner and try again in an hour.
That is a tough pill to swallow, but it makes total sense. You're building trust, not fear.
Precisely.
And here's where it gets really interesting. All of this potty training, all this running outside every hour, it connects directly to another massive factor: sleep.
Yes, sleep is huge.
The math on this is absolutely wild to me. Puppies need roughly 18 to 20 hours of sleep a day.
It's hard to believe.
That leaves only 4 to 6 hours where they are actually awake. But somehow, in those 4 hours, they manage to have the destructive energy of a caffeinated toddler. How does that sleep cycle actually work?
It is almost hard to comprehend. But when you think about how rapidly their brains and bodies are growing, those 18 to 20 hours make complete sense.
They're doing a lot of growing.
They are burning an astronomical amount of energy just developing bone structure and neural pathways.
But the problem is, if they don't get that sleep, they don't just quietly yawn, rub their eyes, and put themselves to bed.
Never.
An overtired puppy turns into a completely cranky, hyperactive monster. They get completely overstimulated and start biting everything in sight.
Which is precisely why crate training becomes such a vital tool, not just for potty training, but for enforcing that necessary rest.
Because they won't stop on their own.
Right. Puppies are terrible at regulating their own energy. And we really need to reframe how we think about the crate.
Yeah.
We must position the crate not as a cage, but as a cozy, secure den.
Because they're den animals.
Dogs are naturally den animals. They seek out small, enclosed spaces when they want to feel safe.
So it's reward space. You stock it with a nice blanket, a safe chew toy, and you only project calm energy around it. You never use it for a timeout when you're angry.
Exactly. Never for punishment. But this raises an important question, one that every new owner panics over.
The crying.
What if you put them in this wonderful, cozy den and they immediately start screaming and crying?
Yes. The guilt is immediate. Do you let them out?
You have to look at the context. If all their needs are met, they've gone potty, they've eaten, they've played, that crying is usually protest, not genuine distress.
Just a little temper tantrum.
They just have FOMO, fear of missing out. If you open that door the second they cry, you've just taught them that whining is the magical key that opens the crate.
You train them to cry.
Exactly. You have to endure those few minutes of protest so they can learn to self-soothe and eventually fall asleep.
And they are going to need all that sleep, because right around 3 to 6 months, we enter a completely new phase. I like to call it the land shark era.
Ah, the teething terror. It is legendary.
It really is. This is when those tiny, razor-sharp baby teeth start falling out, their gums get incredibly sore and inflamed, and your adorable little fluff ball turns into a relentless chewing machine.
They chew everything.
There's this one story in the notes that had me laughing out loud about this phase.
Oh, the shoelace one.
Yes. A new owner was sitting on their couch, and the puppy happily trotted over, sat on their feet, and proceeded to chew right through a pair of shoelaces while the human was still wearing the shoes.
Just completely bold.
Completely oblivious to the fact that those laces were attached to a person.
The multitasking puppy. It is a funny visual, but it highlights a really important biological point about how puppies interact with the world during this phase.
Right.
What's fascinating here is that puppies don't have hands. They explore their entire environment, every texture, every object through their mouths. Their jaws and gums are packed with sensory receptors.
So to them, chewing on your expensive electronics, your laptop cables, or your favorite shoes isn't malicious.
Not at all.
No. It's just them gathering data. What is this? Is it food? Is it fun?
Precisely. They view no-chew items as personal tactile challenges. And because their gums are actively throbbing as adult teeth push through, chewing actually provides physical relief.
So how does a human survive the land shark era with their belongings intact? We need survival tools. Because a firm no doesn't seem to stop a dog who is desperately trying to soothe their own mouth.
The remedies are actually incredibly simple, but they require preparation. You need to become best friends with designated chew toys.
Like the heavy-duty rubber ones.
Heavy-duty rubber toys are great. Frozen fabric toys are even better because the cold actively numbs the pain in their mouth, much like a teething ring for a human baby.
That makes total sense.
But the ultimate life hack we found in the behavioral guides is taking a simple, cheap, wet washcloth, tying it in a knot, freezing it overnight, and letting them gnaw on that.
That's smart.
The texture of the terry cloth combined with the ice perfectly soothes those sore, inflamed gums.
That frozen washcloth trick is brilliant. Just a cheap, easy way to save the legs of your furniture. But let's be real, it's not just about inanimate objects. Every puppy nips at human hands, ankles, and clothes too.
Yes, they do.
And those needle teeth hurt.
They hurt a lot.
Ah.
But again, this nipping isn't aggression. It is play and exploration. The key is teaching them bite inhibition.
So when they go for the fingers, the advice is to immediately redirect.
Always redirect.
You simply swap out your hand for one of those designated chew toys, and then, going back to that dopamine loop we talked about earlier, you praise them the second they start chewing the toy instead of your hand.
Yes, redirection is your first line of defense. But if we connect this to the bigger picture of behavioral development, there's another tactic that is vital here, especially when redirection fails.
What's that?
If the puppy gets too worked up, gets overstimulated, and won't stop nipping at your ankles, you simply pause playtime. You become a tree.
Become a tree.
You stop moving, you tuck your hands away under your armpits, you look away, and you become completely, utterly boring.
Just completely shut down the fun factor.
Exactly. By doing this, you're teaching them crucial bite control. In a litter, if one puppy bites another too hard, the bitten puppy yelps and stops playing.
Right, they self-police.
The biter quickly learns, oh, if I bite hard, the fun stops. You are mimicking that exact dynamic. You're showing them that calm behavior keeps your attention, while aggressive biting makes you disappear emotionally.
It's all about setting boundaries through action, not just words, which leads us perfectly into how they learn boundaries from the rest of the world.
Socialization.
Because bite inhibition naturally leads us into the next major phase: socializing, training, and the absolute magic of a good routine. Once those initial vaccines are underway, you hit what the developmental experts call the golden window.
The golden window is critical. This usually occurs between 8 and 16 weeks of age. Their brains are essentially wet clay right now.
So moldable.
This is the time to start what is affectionately referred to as doggy kindergarten. It is the period where you must actively expose the pup to the wider world because their neuroplasticity is at its peak. How they process fear and novelty is being hardwired right now.
So we're talking about introducing them to everything under the sun. Mailmen, skateboards, loud garbage trucks, car rides, other dogs, people wearing big hats, people with umbrellas. The works.
Yes, but the method here is just as important as the exposure itself. You have to keep it gradual. Keep these socialization sessions short and overwhelmingly positive, usually paired with high-value treats.
You don't want to overwhelm them.
The last thing you want to do is flood the puppy with so much new stimuli that they become terrified.
Right. Taking them to a crowded, noisy parade on day one is definitely a bad move. You don't want to traumatize them. It's about gentle exposure. You sit on a park bench from a distance, and when a skateboard rolls by, you feed them a treat. They learn that scary wheels mean snacks. And the payoff for doing this correctly is huge.
It really is.
Because a well-socialized pup is the one that grows into a calm, highly adaptable adult dog that isn't terrified of its own shadow or barking aggressively at every bicycle that passes by.
Precisely. You are building their confidence reservoir. And alongside this socialization, this golden window is the exact time to introduce micro-training.
I love this concept. We are talking about the early foundational commands: sit, stay, come, drop it. But you don't do this in hour-long, grueling obedience class.
Well, their attention span is too short.
You keep the sessions to simple 2-minute bursts throughout the day. You grab a handful of treats, you ask for sit, you treat, you ask again, you treat, and then you are done. It's compared in the literature to giving out gold stars in kindergarten.
That is a brilliant analogy. And the true value of this micro-training isn't really about creating a robot dog that obeys your every command perfectly.
It's deeper than that.
It is fundamentally about communication. It is how your puppy learns to focus on you amidst distractions. It is how they learn to understand what you want. And more importantly, it is how they learn to trust you as their guide. You are actively building a shared language.
And every small win in that shared language feels massive. Like the first time you say sit and they actually put their butt on the floor without trying to jump up and eat the treat out of your hand first.
Huge victory.
It is a real breakthrough moment. But none of this, not the extreme timing of potty training, not the socialization, not the 2-minute micro-training bursts, none of it works without the final piece of the puzzle, the absolute anchor of routine.
Routine is everything for a canine. When you establish a consistent rhythm for meals, for potty breaks, for naps in the crate, and for active playtime, you remove all the guesswork for the dog.
They know what's coming.
This predictability is what makes the puppy feel genuinely secure. They don't have to feel anxious about when they will eat next or when they will get to go outside to relieve themselves. They can just relax into the rhythm of the house.
And let's be totally honest, that predictability is what keeps the human listener completely sane too.
Without a doubt.
When the puppy knows what to expect and you know that at 10 a.m. the dog is going into the crate for a 2-hour nap, there is just significantly less chaos in your life. You can finally answer emails or drink a cup of coffee in peace.
It creates harmony for both species.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, who might be staring at a chewed-up slipper right now, wondering what you got yourself into?
It's a valid question.
The big takeaway from all of this behavioral science and psychological insight is that this journey is a messy, imperfect process. Yes, you are absolutely going to lose a few socks along the way. You are going to deal with chewed charging cables, and you are definitely going to be cleaning up puddles when you would much rather be sleeping.
But by staying patient, by relying on routine and the dopamine loops of positive reinforcement, and by actively celebrating all those tiny 2-minute milestones, you are guiding this incredibly vulnerable creature through a massive life transition. Mistakes are just a natural, unavoidable part of the learning curve for both of you.
You really just have to remind yourself to laugh at the chaos. If your puppy could speak English, they would probably just look at you, tilt their head, and say, "Hey, I'm literally an infant. I have no idea what a rug is. Be patient with me."
True.
So hang in there, take the ridiculous photos, record the milestones, because this messy, hilarious, exhausting, heart-melting stage does not last forever. Before you know it, that tiny needle-toothed gremlin is going to turn into your absolute best friend and the most loyal companion you could ask for.
It is a truly remarkable transformation to witness.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up our analysis of puppy development today, there is a final lingering question that I want to leave you with, something for you to ponder on your own.
Okay, let's hear it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we discussed today how puppies explore their entire world through their mouths because they lack hands, and how their primary sense is olfactory, not visual. It raises an interesting thought for you to chew on. If we completely redesigned our human homes strictly from a dog's sensory perspective, prioritizing taste, chewability, and fascinating smells over our own visual aesthetics and modern furniture, what would our living spaces actually look like?
Wow. A house built entirely around chewability and smell.
It's quite the concept.
I'm imagining a lot of edible table legs and scratch and sniff carpets. That is a wild, slightly gross image to picture, but definitely something to think about the next time you catch your pup eyeing the leg of your expensive coffee table. Thank you so much for joining us for this dip dive. Give your own pup an extra big cuddle today and maybe a frozen washcloth for surviving another day of the puppy stage. And we will catch you next time.